Hello and welcome back to Leicester Fan TV for episode 4, I think, of the Championship chat. I keep forgetting what episode because we did one before the season actually started. So yeah, episode 4. Tonight we've got Brad back from I think was it the season predictions you have last day, Brad? Yeah. So obviously I know you've been busy, so thanks for jumping on tonight. And Jack, which Jack hasn't been in any of the episodes yet, but I don't know if you might have been on Leicester Fan TV at some point in the past.
I'm sure if you scroll long enough and hard enough for any channel, I'm on it somewhere.
Yeah, true. How long have you been doing the YouTube stuff, mate?
Me and Mike have been doing it for about, I think, 5-6 seasons now. You know, it's been a long time. We're finally at the point where, you know, we do enough TikToks where drunk 40-year-olds come up to us at games and be like, "I really like your stuff, man." So it's there. It's a good time.
Nice one. I'll quickly obviously talk about obviously Brad, because I haven't seen you in a few weeks, mate. I mean, briefly, what do you think to how the season started for you guys? Obviously, you played Leicester last time out. Did all right. Obviously, I think Leicester were always going to win that one in the end. But what's your thoughts on the start of the season?
It's just the same old, really. It's just business as normal for Town. It's just turn up, play good, lose. Turn up, play bad, lose. It don't really make a difference with us. And this is what's infuriating because, like you say, we did play good against Leicester after playing very poorly against newly promoted Plymouth. You know, Ballymumba walking through us like we're a pub side. And then, like you say, play good against Leicester. And that's the part that infuriated me. I'd rather us have got wrecked that game. I'd rather have got tanked 5-0. And the reason that the part what did me was we lost that game ourselves. We had an open net. We had that many chances. So in my mind, that feels like a good game gone. You know what I mean? Like as teams you have performances in you, that's like one wasted to me now. Because next week we're not going to play like, you know, on Saturday, but I don't think we'll play as good as that. So it kind of decreases the chance of playing that well and decreases the chance of winning. And I was raging Saturday, and I was on my own, I think. Everyone else, you know, clapping, "Oh, yeah, great." I'm like, well, you won't be saying this though in December when we're bottom. Is my point, because all it takes is a couple of games on a run, and we'll end up in the same position as last time. As you can see, I'm not right happy, but like I say, it's business as normal for Town. It's not what I've not seen already. It's just, we made a decent signing today, but...
Who was that?
What's his name now?
You don't even know his name. He's not a decent signing.
No,
Come on.
I know his name, but he's Dutch. I think it's Belzago or something like that.
Okay.
1 goal in 13. So I don't know.
No, fair enough, mate. Obviously, Jack, 1 win, 1 draw, and that draw was obviously so 2 weeks in, but game of the season so far. Some great goals as well. What's your thoughts on the start that Southampton have made?
It's been all right. The Norwich game. If you would have told me the last 2 league games I'd see at St Mary's would be 4 all draws, once against Liverpool and then 1 against Norwich.
Oh yeah,
that was our last game of the season. Last time I was at St Mary's was another 4 all draw. So it's like, okay, but this time it's a step in the right direction. This game, it should have been a game that we won, but for some reason, like, we just can't. We've had 7 shots on target faced this year so far, and 5 of them have gone in, and that's kind of where we're dripping. Like, the attack is so feisty. Like, going forward, we've got so much going for us. Like, right now, we're lucky that we've lost some big names. You may have heard. We've lost a couple, but we're still quite full in most positions, to a point where I really don't know how this squad looks at the end of the transfer window, because now everyone's up in the air, and I don't know what the best positions are, and the people that we've lost are quite important. So given the fact that Norwich was the first game in, I think, about 25 years that we played without James Ward-Prowse, I was going to allow the midfield to be all over the place, and that's kind of where we lost the ball, and then defense still aren't quite with it enough yet to sort of handle it. So, you know, it's not 9-0, so I'll take it.
I know. I've just seen a comment in the chat. Who does Jack think he's going to lose 9-0 to this season?
It's so crazy to think that I don't think it might happen. That's the thing. That means it will be you.
If we score 9 goals, mate, if we score 9 goals in 3 games, never mind 1 game. That's an achievement.
Yeah, but that's the Southampton way. Concede 9 goals to a team who only scored 9 goals this season.
Well, there we go. Just before we get into the fixtures, so for this weekend that we've selected 6 fixtures as normal. I asked the lads to something new because obviously I haven't done this so in the other episodes, but I'll have to get Chris and Oscar's 5-a-side team. So I asked the lads to put together their all-time 5-a-side team from their clubs. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to start with Brad's first because I just don't think. I mean, we'll compare all 3 teams, but I think Brad's obviously is going to lose, unfortunately for him. But I mean, Brad, I mean, look, Leicester, Southampton just been relegated, So what do you expect?
I'll hold my little taking part trophy.
So this is Brad's team. This is the team Brad gave me. By the way, sorry if I get formations wrong and stuff, lads. So he's gone with. I mean, talk us through it, Brad. Talk us through it.
So in the way I looked at it, it was Smith Rowe up top, purely because I've used these players more on like a 50-50 between the love I have for them with the time at the club and obviously how good they were. Because you've got a couple of other players that were great, but the way they exited the club, it didn't sit right with a lot of fans, me included. But for me, this would probably be quite in the ballpark, really, what a lot of people would say. Lee Nichols, he's not having a great start at the moment.
I was going to say, is that the one that Mavididi megged, not megged on the weekend?
Yeah. I can't quite believe it, to be honest with you guys, because I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. The season we nearly got promoted, he was the best keeper in the league, and I wasn't having none of it. I was fighting people in streams week in, week out, literally screaming at the camera, going, he is the best. They're like, no, Bryce Samba. I'm like, shut your mouth. You don't have a clue. Like, it was just chaos. And I don't know. He's had a bit of a slower start, like I say, but, for me, he's the best keeper we've ever had. And we've had some really good ones. Right. Christopher Schindler, obviously scoring the penalty that got us to the Premier League in our very short 2 years, didn't there? But, oh well. But yeah, obviously, massive, legend for the club for doing that. Moy, simply the best player I've ever seen wear a Town shirt. Absolutely taken back from the day I seen him against Brentford until he left. Schooled Man United. We saw it all with Moy. Great player.
Yeah.
Hogg just celebrated 10 years at the club. So, yeah, not many players you'll see with that kind of history and longevity at a club. So obviously we all love Hogg for that. And Smith Rowe, probably the best loan player that we never signed, but we're never gonna. But like I say, the way he dribbled the ball, the way he brought those skills down into the Championship was really good. And plus I couldn't pick between Rhodes and a couple of others. So I thought I'd go Smith Rowe.
Fair enough. I mean, Leicester fans do not like the name Hogg because his name is obviously in that iconic commentary. From the Leicester Watford playoff match. He must have joined you then. That summer, did he?
Right, after
that.
I think.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'll come to you next, Jack. So Jack's given me his team, and this team it's a very good team.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, I'll just bring it up and you can talk us through it. Which one's yours? Not that one. This one here. Here you go.
Good owl. Look at that team. Cool.
Oh,
that's a great 5-a-side. I
think mine's better.
To be fair, listen, yours might have more heart and sentimentality to it, but my one's got Matt Letizia at the front selling CBD edibles and having a good time.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Letizia's got off the Rocker Boys, and it's the best thing in the world. But when you look at the rest of it, I mean, Mane and Bale, I don't think I have to explain most of this team. I will say I argued about that goalkeeper position because, you've just accidentally flashed your team on, but so not to ruin who you've put in goal. But
yeah.
I've gone Shilton because he's, England's most caps, and he's Peter Shilton. But I did have Anthony Niemi in there because for someone who was a fat young goalkeeper as a kid, seeing us having this little short Finnish goalkeeper, cool, he was weighted.
Finish or finished?
He's not finished. He's 28. So yeah, that was my only part. But it was recently on the channel we interviewed an ex-Saints manager, Dave Merrington, and he made a few points of like, usually I would just put in players from my childhood that I like. Anders Svensson, Brett Ormerod, just bangers. But when you get down to it, you're like, oh my God, we have actually had some pretty insane players quite recently. And yeah, just Van Dijk was the best thing I've ever seen on a football pitch. Mane scored a hat-trick in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Yes.
Like that was one of those times where my phone was going off at work, and I was like, "Oh my God, they've equalised!" And I pulled it out to see, like, hold on a second.
I remember that.
He's done what?
So yeah, to be fair, isn't it? When you're at work.
You know when your phone's going off, like you know the score's happening in your pocket because something crazy's happening. You're like, we're going to be 5-0 down. Someone's got a red card. You pull it out and be like, well, I was never going to expect it to be a hat trick in 5 minutes.
There's been 8 fights, a pitch invader, someone's drove down on the pitch and everything. Yeah.
Literally, like you think everything else. It's kind of like when somebody phones you at 3 o'clock in the morning. You expect the very worst.
Well, I know someone who was back in obviously 15-16 when Leicester won the Premier League. I'm sure you both remember the game where we beat Man City 3-1, and that's when obviously everyone started to think, "Oh, okay, Leicester are actually going to win the league here." But I know someone who was on a flight for that game, and when they came out, they had notifications on Twitter. And it's quite an iconic tweet for Leicester fans. Actually, it's still out there. But he had tweet notifications, and the most recent when he landed, the most recent one that popped up was Robert Huth has scored a brace, or Robert Huth is on a hat trick. Robert Huth is on a hat trick, and he was like, "What?" But yeah, no, that's a sick team, mate. I mean, Brad, obviously, you can be the judge for us two. I've got my team here, so I'll get it up now. There we go. So. Again, like Jack said, obviously Gordon Banks, obviously I'd never watched him play, obviously. But, I could have put Casper in there as well. That wouldn't have been a bad shout, but I just think Banks probably, it's hard to compare them, obviously different eras, but I'll go with Banks as the best goalkeeper. I've cheated a little bit because I haven't put a defender in there, but I've gone with N'Golo Kante. I just think he could do a job probably in a 5-a-side playing back there. I mean, Cambiasso, we only had him for 1 season on a free contract. The Great Escape season for Leicester, the year before we won the Premier League. He was probably the best player I've ever seen in a Leicester shirt that season. Obviously, things changed because of the 2 players ahead of him now on the screen. But at the time, it was the best player I'd seen in a Leicester shirt. And then, I mean, these two, there's no, you can't.
No introduction necessary.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 2 names that will go down in Premier League folklore. Absolutely. Obviously, Mahrez, not just what he's done at Leicester, but what he's gone on to do, carried it on. And same as Vardy. Since that year, he's just been one of the. I don't like saying this because like some fans just take the piss out of me, but like he is one of the best strikers to ever play in the Premier League, in my opinion. One of.
He broke the record for consecutive goals.
Yeah, Premier League 100 club. I mean, I think he's 14th top goal scorer in the Premier League. I think he is. I think he's 14th.
In his prime, he's better than a lot of the players that are on there as well, which a lot of people don't look at. Because obviously, it's all right saying now, we still all kind of turned around and started heading for the exits when he came on Saturday and thought, "There we go, let's get off."
Yeah. He's still got that presence about him. Brad, who are you going with? To be fair, I wouldn't blame you if you do choose Jacks because I just think, I mean, if you're talking about them, Jack, when they played for Saints.
Then I would have chosen a completely different 5.
Yeah, okay, fair. Because like Van Dijk.
Ward-Prowse would have been the first name in there.
Who? Dead man? Who?
But anyway, who are you going with, Brad? Who are you picking? Who's team?
I'd have to go with Southampton, to be honest. But that being said, I've seen it firsthand. Like some of those players at Leicester. In fact, I'd say I've watched Kante play. I've watched Mahrez play. And I've watched Vardy play. Unfortunately for me, I've watched Mahrez play against us, and my first away game, funnily enough, on the channel, first vlog on the channel was Leicester away in the Prem, and who else but to score a volley than Mahrez? So yeah, but no, that Southampton team's too much. If that was in a team together at 6-a-side, you'd take your boots off and walk out and see you later.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I'm happy to give it to Jack there. I'm happy to give it to what a hell of when I asked you for it, Jack, I thought, nah, he's not going to beat. And then when I actually saw the names, I thought, actually, yeah. To be fair,
yeah, we're graced by having good players leave us, and then people tend to forget about us. Like, you wait, boys. Livramento is going to light things up with Newcastle, and a footnote at a pub quiz, you're going to be like, I forget he was at Southampton for a little while, and that's where we get our glory.
I was surprised about he hasn't actually played like loads of games for you either, has he?
There's a couple of them, man. Like Livramento, he was liquid, man, for that first like half a season, and then he picked up an ACL injury at Brighton, out for an entire year.
I remember when he was like the go-to FPL asset.
Honestly, mate, he was electric. But yeah, you're right. He's played one game at the end of last season against Brighton, and then came on as a cameo against Liverpool, and now we've sold him on for I think it was 30 in the end, 30, 40. And same with Lavia, man. Like Lavia, we're about to sell him for 60 mil to Chelsea. Mental. We had him for a year. He also out with a knee injury for a year, and he's only had one goal involvement in that entire time.
Yeah,
and you're like, he's just paid 60 mil for that, for no goal involvements and one decent season.
Yeah, mental, mate. Yeah, it's mental. But yeah, anyway, right. So we're 15 minutes in already. So let's get on to the game week 3 fixtures that we chose. I'll put the intro here because I forgot to do it at the start. There we go. I completely forgot at the start, so I thought I'd put it in there. Right. So, as always, I've selected 6 fixtures for this week for us to discuss. Obviously, Leicester, Huddersfield, and Southampton are in here. Start with this one. Start with Leeds, West Brom. So, Leeds not the best to start. I mean, they are an absolute mess. It looks like things might be starting to change a little bit from what I've heard from Leeds fans. I think they've got the control back over the release clauses and all that crap, apparently. But I mean, what is it? A loss and a draw so far. So really not a very good start. I'll go to you first, Jack. Obviously, coming up against West Brom, do you see Leeds their opportunity to turn things around and get back on track, or what do you think?
Yeah, Leeds have been a funny one, haven't they? So it's literally as soon as, like, when you realise they were coming down with us, you're like, okay, right, they'd probably be all right for next season. They'll probably, they make some moves. But as soon as the summer started, it's just kind of been like a fire. Like, it's been quite fun to watch it burn. But at the same time, it does feel like that ship is steadying a little bit. Yeah. They ain't been great performances. They've been a bit shot, just throw it out. Hope you get something out of it. But I've not. Have you boys seen much West Brom yet? I've not. I don't think I've even watched any other highlights of the West Brom games. So I don't really know what's going on there. So if there's a game for Leeds to just start the run, they've had their now. Let's make it a run. I kind of see it being this game because I don't see much from West Brom right now.
Well, I speak to Joe often, Jack. And his nickname recently has been Bipolar Joe by his viewers, because one day he's like over the moon, he's buzzing. He's like, yeah, right, we're back. We're going to finish top 2 and all this. And then the next day he's just in a terrible mood and he's saying, we're finishing mid-table.
But he's like Frank Lampard in an interview, basically.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, guys, like that.
Yeah, literally. But what he's been saying recently is things do look like they're taking a turn for the better. However, the game against West Brom obviously won't be affected because they haven't made any signings this week or anything. So they'll have the same squad going into that. So it might still be tough for them. Brad, I know you are loving it. Like me, I hate Leeds just because of Joe Wayman, if I'm honest. And I've got back and forth beef with probably about 100 Leeds fans on social media. Obviously, you hate them, Brad. You told me that a few weeks ago. I mean, are you enjoying it? Are you, like Jack said, is it fun for you watching it burn?
It's great to see. I mean, it's a bit like a bit of a dodgy issue when we're doing worse because we can't really. Yeah, we don't really have a leg to stand on, but yeah, I absolutely love it. Like, if we were saying a couple of years ago when we could have got promoted. If we could have got promoted and they'd have gone down, I'd have been absolutely rolling on the floor. But thanks to John Moss and they're just jammy. So yeah,
that is it. Yeah, they are just jammy. That's the current tactic.
How they went from 2-0 down against Cardiff to go and draw that. They're the only team that can do it. Honestly, throw your month's rent on them in the 90th minute to score a goal, and you'll never work again. Honestly, I swear to God, every weekend, man.
So for me, I've gone 2 on Leeds. Like you said, Jack. I just haven't seen enough of West Brom, so I'm just going for a safe result here. If I'm honest with you, 2-1 Leeds. I think they'll just about maybe have enough. But then if you compare it to I'm sure West Brom have probably got a better starting 11 as such than Birmingham. Probably. I don't know. You tell me. Someone tell me. Brad.
Maybe.
Birmingham compared to West Brom. Surely West Brom.
I don't know. Birmingham had a really good transfer window. To be fair,
true.
They've kind of really. Like I said, they're that rash that you can't get rid of in this league. But they've steadied the ship. So
yeah. Tom Brady, Tom Brady ball.
Plus Birmingham at home, so it's a tricky one. They will get most of their points at home. So even.
What are you going? Score prediction.
Oh well, unfortunately, I've got 1-1 because Brom will go up 10 minutes in and they'll score at 90th minute because they'd fall out of window and go up. There's just that team.
Yeah, Joe was saying actually it'd be quite. He's not hoping. He thinks it will go terribly. It's tomorrow night, isn't it? It's Friday. Friday. Late game on Friday. Because obviously Carlos Corberan. Obviously a lot of Leeds fans wanted him in charge this season, but obviously they ended up with Fark, which again on paper is a good appointment anyway. Jack, what about your score prediction? I don't think you gave me one. What's your one?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go 1-0 Leicester, not Leicester, Leeds. What am I saying? 1-0 Leeds. I've got it.
Leicester are even winning when they're not playing.
Yeah, exactly. They're just in it, man. They're killing it. That's all I got. Yeah, I did what? I think
1-1.
the same.
They'll send. Go on, mate. Oh, it's glitching.
Just about to say, I just think it's going to be a dead boring game, and then Leicester, and then Leeds.
It will.
Leeds just a snap.
It'll be 1-0 Brom all game. They'll send the keeper off for absolutely no reason. Send the whole back line off, and there you go. 1-1 in the 98th minute with 4 minutes added on. Trust me, I swear, every time.
Moving on now to Plymouth, Southampton. So here we go, Jack. We'll talk about Southampton here. I've gone 3-1 Southampton for this one. Obviously, like you said, it was a good opening weekend for you. You got the win. A bit nervy, wasn't it, at times in that game against Sheffield Wednesday? Obviously, 4-4 against Norwich. A bit of a freak result, as we said. But then match week 3, Plymouth obviously started not too bad. But do you expect to get this win against them?
When I watched the Plymouth their first game against it was against Huddersfield, wasn't it? That first game I didn't get much from it. I was just like, opening game. I don't know too much about either. But then I watched the Watford game. That's quite a good point for them, I thought. I didn't mean to ruin you that day, but I didn't like. Do you know what I mean? Like I've not watched it, so I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, that made me laugh, mate.
Yeah, 13 and a half hours on a coach, man. Could you imagine?
It must have really sucked. You need to have a nice pasty at the very least. You make the trip out of it.
What was that? Sorry,
a pasty.
Did you at least get a pasty out of it?
No, but we got a free bar because Tills went down. So
there you are. Then worth the trip.
There you go.
Not bad.
So Southampton going into this third game, I'm hoping for just a little bit more consistency, really. I think if we can get the front have got this style of play down, getting this midfield sort of working together now. I was hoping Flynn Downs would be announced before the weekend, so maybe get him in there. It's a shame we got Will Smallbone out for a few months because he's been electric since the start of the season. He was great, from what I gather, great at Stoke last season as well. So he's had that time now playing proper men's football, but it's just a shame we've now lost him for a few months. So midfield might look a bit iffy again. And then, but this Shea Charles that we've got from City seems like we've sold a Lavia and got another Lavia in. So hopefully it comes together. I think goals because, to be fair, for me, Plymouth look like one of the promotion teams that are a team and they're somewhat together. They seem to be playing a style of football.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a fun. Exactly, they're just seem to know what they're doing right now. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting them to score, and I'm expecting us to concede because that's what we do. So I'm going to, same for what I said on Matchday Vlogs, I'm going to go for 4-2 Southampton, because if we're going to win games this season, we're going to have to score goals. And that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Obviously, like I said, I've gone 3-1 Southampton. Brad, over to you, mate, for this one.
Yeah, I'm only saying this because I've been mentally scarred from it, but I'm going 1-1, and I have a reason for that. Now, I think Southampton, like I've said in previous videos, I think they're going second and Leicester are going first, and that's just how it's going to be. But these teams that are coming up from League One, they're gonna be foaming at the mouth. They're gonna be really keen to get like the best start possible. Those first 5 games, as I've seen on the first day, mean everything to them. Like fans literally bouncing in the seats. They've never seen it before, especially Plymouth, and they're going crazy. So it means a lot to them. It means a lot to the players. They battled and they wanted it more than we did. And I mean, we basically handed it to them on a plate anyway, because that's what we do. But they play like Jack says. They are very organised. They're very pragmatic. They're very. There's a thing that I look at with teams like this. The team doesn't have to be great, but as long as they all know the jobs and they all work in a tight unit, you'd be surprised on how far that can go. Rather than just, rather than having 2 donkeys on the wings doing Ronaldo shots and having 9 other players, it works better. And Plymouth, like I say, they've got it to a T. I think Home Park will be a hard place to get points from this season. Or maybe we're just terrible. Who knows? But
yeah, maybe.
Probably, more likely. But I'm going to go 1-1. Because I think that Ward-Prowse leaving as well, sorry, Jack, is going to, it's going to shake things up a little bit. They'll have to rotate round. They've not played without him for a long time. That, along with what I said about Plymouth. Don't think it's a Southampton problem, more of a Plymouth good thing, really.
Yep. So what I think I said 3-1. Brad said 1-1. And what did you say again for that one, Jack?
4-2.
4-2. Over to the big dogs of the league, obviously. No, Leicester City versus Cardiff. It's a shame Chris ain't here for this one to give us some Cardiff insight, but there we go. Start with you, Jack. I mean, I remember being on like I said earlier, the show with Joe, and obviously we're doing kind of predictions and stuff. And obviously, I think you said Southampton first, Leicester second. Obviously, as you would, because obviously you're a Southampton fan. I said Leicester first, and they were going to break the points record. What are your thoughts now? If you're being completely honest, do you still see Southampton, winning the league, or have you seen much of Leicester so far? What do you think?
I've seen bits and bobs of Leicester, and I do think you probably look right now, if you're asking me, maybe the stronger of the two.
Yeah.
I still think we're a little bit of an unknown quantity given the whole new style of play and the captain's gone. I think there's just a bit more stability in your team that makes me think maybe they will go the distance. But at the same time, I'm still learning this league as well. I'm still just learning where the pitfalls are. I think, we're still having those Premier League blinders. I'm still going into every game going, I don't know what I'm going to see today. Like, I don't even really know the rules this season. Like, to be fair, all the new rules in the adults, it's not really a sport that I know. So it's all been pretty intriguing. But here's this is just for me with Cardiff. There's 2 things. Southampton always lose against Cardiff, and they really want to make me visit Malaysia. I don't know why. Every time I watch Cardiff, I think, God damn, Malaysia sounds like a good time. So I think that for me, they're always just a slip-up club, even when they're in the Premier League. So that's what I always see them as. Yeah. So for me, it could be a stupid game, but at the same time, at this point now, I don't see Leicester losing games. If you like, unless I see your form change, I just don't see you losing. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I mean, can you give us a score prediction? What you think?
I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. You're welcome.
Yeah. Over to you, Brad. What are your thoughts on this game?
Just going on what he just touched upon then, we touched about on this in the pre-season thing about the 2 teams and about how Russell Martin, when he was at Swansea, you've got a weaker side. So for him to go to Southampton now and have a team much more capable of passing the ball, which is his style, it can make the world of difference. But yeah, touching on Leicester, I'm at a similar point, to be honest. I don't see them losing. I'm glad we've got the game out of the way, and obviously congrats on winning the league, because that'll be the 4th team in a year to play at our ground first and win the league.
Have you heard this? Have you heard this stat, Jack? Have you heard this?
Go for it. So
the past 3 years, the first team we've had at home has beat us and won the league. Norwich, Fulham, Burnley.
Now Leicester.
Look, it couldn't be written perfect. That computer, we do it randomly. Are you having a laugh? Do you really think we were born yesterday? Like, seriously? Like it's all perfectly written out and everything, and all these little trips in between. Preston on a Tuesday night to stop us going away to Blackpool for weekend. Come on, man! Nah, you know, never, not having it.
Yeah, he's got his tinfoil hat on. Brad has conspiracy theory. You'd fit in well with Matt Letizia, mate. You would, Brad.
Yeah.
You're not that bad yet. You're not that bad yet.
No. Or who else is it now? Is it Ricky Lambert talking to water? I think.
Yeah. Ricky Lambert talks much to water before he drinks it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Boys, for real, if you want to watch some good content, just like he's done some podcasts recently, and it's just like, you're so off the wall nuts. It's great.
It's mental. But Brad, obviously, you said you can't see Leicester losing. So what are you going for score-wise?
I'm joining Jack 2-0 Leicester.
Yeah, well, that'll be 3 for 3. I've also gone 2-0 Leicester. Yeah. I just think, obviously, I was probably being overly. I'm still being overly cocky by saying we're going to break the points record, 107 points and all that. But I just think we're adding the right players now as well. Like we were at Cassidy, which a lot of people aren't too fussed about. Obviously got relegated with Reading last year, but I mean, he had the under-20s World Cup in the summer, finished Golden Boy, so player of the tournament, and also top goal scorer from centre midfield. So it looks like a nice little snip. Obviously, it's a loan, so risk-free kind of thing. Just extra depth. Looks like we're going after Illich Chair. Looks like that might be happening very soon. And mate, Brad, I don't know if it was you or Chris that took the piss at the start and said, like, if Leicester rock up with Illich Chair on the bench, I think that's actually what will happen. Illich Chair will not start for us. He will not.
I said that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you say about that guy who got relegated with Reading. It's all it's all relevant to who we had with him.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us in the past few years. We had some great keepers, but then we've had defences with like full-on like holes in them, and then the keepers look terrible. I mean, United have had it for a while now. Everyone goes on at De Gea. I mean, he's fallen off massively, but look at your defence before it. You go straight to the keeper. It's all relevant, and I think the young lad will probably do well. And Chair, oh my God, if you get Chair, that's it. I'm downing the tools and getting straight back in the car and going home. I'm not coming to King Power this year if I see him.
Taylor Howard-Bellis as well. Obviously another loan from Man City who we're looking at. I don't know if it apparently is talk whether it might be a loan or it might be permanent. I think 10 million quid they want for him, which obviously is quite a bit for a championship team to pay, but it's probably not that much for a relegated Premier League team to pay.
Not that much for someone who's just sold Barnes and Maddison
for 80 million. Yeah, exactly. So I just think Leicester too much. I'm sure we'll face tough opposition and there'll be games where we come unstuck and we drop points and stuff this season. It will happen, but I don't think Cardiff's going to be the one. So moving on, Swift.
Saturday, 3-0
Cardiff. Yeah. Moving on, mate. Middlesbrough, Huddersfield. So, Brad, you can start us off with this one. Thoughts going into this game?
I just take it as it comes. We need to switch it up a bit because now we're at this point where we're not making subs at the right times. We're bringing the subs on when the other team's already scored. And the other team's already scored, like I say, may as well just head for turnstiles. There's no point, really, because it's just a waste of time at that point. On Saturday, we had to score first, and we didn't bring the subs on, and it cost us. As soon as that goal went in, you knew exactly what would come in. Team at that quality are going to just sit behind the ball and not phase, not a care in the world. So we now go up to Borough, and there's a problem. Borough haven't won a game yet.
Yeah. Okay.
And we, like many teams, are the Robin Hood of this league. We love taking points off the top teams, having good games against the top teams and giving points to the poor. So I know what's coming, and a lot of other town fans will. We still head up to Borough at the weekend like idiots, but it's tricky because Borough might be losing Akpom, so they're there for the taking.
He's gone.
Yeah. They're there for the taking. I do think Borough last year was massively Carrick and not the squad. Yeah. The same way I think, it wasn't all the squad that got us to Wembley. It was Corberan as well and the mix between the two. But if I'm being completely honest, cards on the table here, do I seriously think we're going to go up to Borough when they've not won a game? The second game at home, obviously, they've not won all season. They are crying for a win. And I think that's what they're going to do, to be honest. I think I've said Borough 2-1. I don't think will be enough for them. They'll be crying out for that home win. If they don't get that home win, pressure goes on Carrick. Wheels come flying off the bus, and it's just going to be chaos. For us, that's just a steady weekend. 3 games, 3 losses. But for a team like Borough that have just, obviously finished third, the papers won't stop talking. So they need to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said 2-1. I've gone again the same. I've gone 2-1 Borough. I just think, like you said, it's a good point that you made. Obviously, Middlesbrough, not won a game yet, so they'll be looking for that. Obviously, their first 3 points. A lot of people had Borough in like 3rd place, 2nd place.
I did, yeah,
for this season. And I think I had them in like 3rd or 4th. So you'd imagine that they're gonna have a change of form at some point, and maybe
we assumed obviously these predictions based off who hadn't left already.
Yes,
we assumed that Ward-Prowse could stay at Southampton. Sorry, Jack. We assumed that Akpom could have stayed at Borough. We assumed obviously that all these players may have stayed out, and obviously in the end they never do they? They just go for a bit of cash and a bench spot. Well, not for Ward-Prowse anyway, but
still pro. He doesn't start the Premier League team, mate. He's Championship.
Nah, come on.
No.
Behave. He didn't mean that. Mate, I tried to tell myself that about Mahrez and Kante, mate. I was like, no, they ain't started.
They ain't started.
I haven't made the door Monday morning and Tories Ward-Prowse poster straight off the wall.
I have quite spitefully said I don't think he scores a free kick in a West Ham shirt, and
I think that will happen. I think it will happen.
No, I'm saying it doesn't. I'm saying that West Ham go down, Saints come back up. He comes back on a free and breaks it with us. Because I can dream.
First thing this weekend.
Yeah, I know. I know he is.
Mate, that'd be great. That'd be great if that happened. Obviously, if you go straight up, West Ham come down, because West Ham going down could happen. It could happen. But yeah, this is Championship chat, not Premier League chat, which I keep trying to tell myself. I always end up talking about Premier League. Me and Oscar were on here last week, and we spent like 5 minutes, like the last 5-10 minutes, just talking about Premier League. So yeah, it's getting back.
You guys crack on by all means, but obviously I'll just be sat here.
Yeah, 2-1 Borough I've gone with, same as Brad. Jack, what about you for this one?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brad, mate. I am going to go 2-1 Borough as well. Listen, for me, Borough, they are ropey, considering like they were one of the few teams in the Championship last year that I watched a few games of. I was like, oh, these guys actually look pretty good. I like the unit. And then you come into the league to find out, okay, Loan's going back, Akpom's going. All right, they're having a bit that they've almost had a reset at the beginning of the season. And it's kind of let's go see how good Carrick really is, and can he get this team popping again? By January, is he where's this team going to be then?
It awfully sounds similar to when we didn't get promoted at Wembley, finishing third, and now you lose. We lost O'Brien. They lost Akpom. It sounds very vaguely similar, that kind of process of where they could have a really bad year now. And people will start to go from worshipping Corberan, oh yeah, horrible manager, this and that, at West Brom. Because West Brom, in my eyes, are cursed. They're forever cursed to stay in this league now because they just seem like they can never do all. But they're like Birmingham staying in the league. They're just meant to be there now, I think. But like I said, it seems awfully similar to what happened with us, where they'll go and slag Carrick now, say, oh yeah, never rated him anyways, this and that. and he'll get sacked, and then they'll go get someone like Wilder again, and they'll keep juggling between all these names.
Yeah. So that's 3 1s. No, 2 1s. Yeah, 3 2 1s we've gone with for Borough Huddersfield. That's 2 fixtures now where we've all had the same score prediction. So let's see if we get it for the next one, which is Swansea versus Coventry. Now, for me, obviously Coventry were great last season. Obviously got to Wembley, missed out. I thought at the start that they would have a big drop off this season, but they've started really well. Obviously, I know they lost the first game against Leicester, but don't know if either of you watched it. Obviously, it was on TV as well. They played really well, and Leicester won it with a bit of magic from a Premier League player. That's all it was. So I think Coventry are going to win this one. I've gone 2-1 Coventry. Swansea, obviously, they've got big boy Perot up top, which I desperately want. I'm sure Jack would like him at Southampton as well. But I think Coventry will have a little bit too much, even though they've lost Gus Hamer, I know. But I just think they're going to have a good year this year, and they'll get another win here. So I'll go to you first, Jack, on this fixture.
Yeah, I'm with you. To be honest, mate, like I think Coventry again just look like a unit. After watching the first game against you, I did think they were unlucky not to get something out of it.
Yeah, and
then the second game, I was like, oh right, there's a bit more. There's definitely a consistency here from where they were last season. But obviously, all I know about Swansea is Russell Martin football from last year because that's all I needed to know about. Yeah. But I know that they've still got some ballers in there. Yeah, mate, I would love Joe Perot, but there's no way we're getting him. Not after we stunk out Swansea for Russell Martin's contract, so they won't let us have him. But he is an absolute, like, the Southampton Twitter has been filled with highlights over the summer, so he is just unreal. But I just think, as far as team goes, I've just Coventry everyone with it. Swansea, I still don't know what they're up to yet. So nice, easy for me. 2-0 for Coventry.
Yeah, I'm still holding out for Proto Leicester. I think if we sell Patson Daka, which looks like it's going to happen soon, I'm just holding a little bit of hope. The fee is the tough one. I think they want 15 million, which again, I don't imagine Daka going for much less than that. Between 10 and 15. Obviously, we bought him for like 30 million. I think Patson Daka Leicester bought him for, but. If you can get 10, 15 million for Daka, why not just reinvest it back into Perot, a proven championship goal scorer? Brad, over to you, mate. Swansea, Coventry. Are you going with me and Jack and saying a Coventry win, or are you going for Swansea?
It was so close to having a perfect 3 in a row.
Oh.
So close, because I've got 2-1 Coventry as well.
Right, okay. Jack, let us know.
That'd have been really uncanny. Similar reason, I didn't rate Martin at Swansea for the simple reason that I don't think the squad was good enough for Martin to get his ideas across. I genuinely think it's like Pep's system. You're not going to get a championship team playing, they're not on the same level or anything, but there's certain kinds of football that can only be played efficiently if the players are good enough. And that's, you're not going to get your likes of, you're not going to get Crawley, whipping it out, passing it round outside and stuff. So, well, they've had a good start to the season, actually. That's a bit rich from me. But anyway, it's like I say, it's Coventry, like I say, started strong with that 3-0 win against Borough. They reinvested the Gokres money on Sims. They have just lost Hammer, which is bad. But I do rate Sims. Do think he will.
Mate, he's not had a good start, has he? Though, let's be honest, he's not had a good start.
No,
but it'd be rich for me to rule him out because every town player again.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, for you guys, it's all right. You see instant results with your signings. We have to wait calendar years for them. So, it's. I do expect Perot to chip in with a goal, but yeah, I rate Coventry so much, and ex-town boss Mark Robbins is really good manager.
Ex-Leicester player as well.
Really knows what he's doing, and he's in my top 5 managers in the league easily. He knows his craft. And
7 years, right, at Cov? Mark Robbins, I think.
I think he's been there a while. I know that much, but yeah, I say he knows his stuff. Coventry got a nice all-rounded team. Again, Swansea still in that transition period as well. Yeah, summed it up enough, really. Yeah.
And then finally, to the last fixture that I've put down, Norwich Millwall. I'll start with you, Jack. Obviously, your team faced Norwich in that freak result we spoke about. 4 goals scored from obviously either team, but 4 goals scored by Norwich. I think, Brad, you had Millwall in the playoffs, didn't you, for your season prediction at the start?
Yep.
Yep. So Jack, mate, I mean, do you think Norwich are going to score 4 again?
Here's the thing about the crazy thing about that is, like, I don't know whether Norwich is super clinical because they were pretty decent and the goals were all right. It was just that we were just so leaky at the back. So I didn't get much out of it. But I will say Norwich, you know, we still controlled most of the game. Norwich still didn't look amazing.
Yeah.
And when I watched the Mill highlights back, they seem to get bullied about a little bit by a team I would expect to bully them about. So
yeah,
for me, they just don't look like a team that, I mean, they're not a team I'm much fearful of anyway. I mean, will minus, you know, getting hurt in the stands. But, you know, from what I've watched, it's like, yeah, I don't see him happening. I just think Norwich, although they've got big holes and there's definitely things they need to fix, they definitely got goals in the game because I've seen them go in.
Yeah.
And when they were moving, like, honest to God, there were times in the game when they were moving, passing the ball out. I was like, oh damn, they've got our number here because they're moving quick, they're moving clinically. Yeah. So there's definitely room for this Norwich squad to do a bit of business this season, just be a bit spicy. So for me, yeah, I'll go for 2-0 Norwich.
2-0 Norwich. I've gone 1-1 on this one, Brad. I just think, I don't know. I think after the drama of the 4-4 last week, I just think this will be a complete contrast. 1-1. I still think Norwich will be very close, if not in the playoffs, maybe 6th, something like that. Don't think they'll be challenging for the top 2, 3, anything like that. But yeah, so I think 1-1. Over to you, Brad.
I've gone for quite the opposite to everyone. I've gone, and there's a reason for this. Obviously, I've gone 3-2 Millwall.
Cool, okay. Fair play. Go on then.
And my thought again is Rowett is a I rate him highly as a manager. I rate Wagner highly as a manager, and I think they both can clash really badly here. So for me, Millwall love a high scoring game. I remember quite a few games where Fleming's got 1 or 2, you know, and they all like chip in and it's been high scoring. Norwich coming off the back of a 4-4 draw will be keen now to get kind of stuck in and you know and score more, but they want to keep that form up, but be tight defensively. It's tricky because, like I said, I rate Millwall so highly. Like, I think they've got some really good little players like Watmore, Fleming. I think they'll do a lot better than a lot of teams make out, and they're a killer sometimes for sitting back away from home and, you know, just going for little points. But I don't know. There's just something about this game. It just screams to me where I think Norwich will score early doors and then it'll just erupt from there. And Millwall will score 2, and then Norwich will score 1, then Millwall will score, then Norwich will score again, and it'll just erupt from there. And I think the amount of high quality players we've got in that game in attacking positions, and to be honest, in lack of defensive positions, I think will show.
Yep, fair enough, mate. That'll be a one to watch. Definitely, obviously, if it is 3-2, I'll be fuming because I don't think I mentioned this to you, Jack. We keep track of the scores, score predictions, and I think it's 1 point for the correct result, 3 points for the correct score. So both of you, if you can, please, after this, whenever you've got time, just send me over, so I don't have to go through the whole video again because I forgot to write them down. If you can just send me over your predictions again, over message or something, whenever you can. And then we'll see. I was just going to bring up quickly the scores from last week. Obviously, Jack, you'll enter the leaderboard from here on out. These are the points. So, Brad, you're tied in first place with Oscar.
We can win something.
Yeah. So you're tied with Oscar there at the top with 6 points, and then obviously me and Chris are still just below with 5. It was a close one, to be fair. Me and Oscar had quite similar scores. So we were all right. But yeah, Jack, send me yours over, and we'll see what the leaderboard's like next week. But lads, that's pretty much it. Obviously for the predictions for game week 3. So much appreciated. Jack, before we go, let me know the links to both channels will be in the description. But let us know what's going on over at Matchday Vlogs.
Oh, guys, everything's happening over there. We're doing so much. We're doing so much this season so far. We did the kit launches with the club, and we've been interviewing managers. It's honestly, boys, it's wicked. The fact they let us go shoot in the dugout in the changing rooms, we were just like kids walking around. So, loads of fun stuff. Come watch us. Me and Mike, we vlog every game we get to, all the home games. We'll be doing a live stream this Saturday for the Plymouth game. Yeah. So if anybody's bored on the Saturday and don't fancy listening to the Sky Sports punditry, we got you.
Are you the biggest Southampton fan channel? Or
in our hearts and morally, yes, but there's probably there's like for YouTube and TikTok, yeah, we'll take that.
I'm just wondering, was it just you guys that got invited down to the stadium, or was it a couple others as well?
It was just us.
Yeah, I mean, that's solid from them though, because obviously getting it's a big part of obviously the fan base that now obviously YouTube and stuff and fan channels, and it's just a shame Leicester City, if they're watching, are not so nice. But yeah, anyway, that's a story.
I don't doubt this never would have happened if we stayed in the Premier League, but because of that job, I feel like they've come out to us a little bit more, and we'll take that, man. The club have been amazing. So boys, not being funny, I got to sign a contract with Southampton. I've got it. I'm going to get it framed because at the age of 28, he finally signs for the club.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm going to the World Cup, boys. You watch.
replacing James Ward-Prowse in midfield, mate, on the free kicks. No, it's quite the opposite for Leicester. Obviously, what you said about if you were still in the Premier League, I think it's the opposite for us because obviously we spent all last season slagging off certain members of the Leicester changing room and the board. So I don't think we'll be.
Yeah,
allowed
I have a lot of that. I probably haven't got a hope in hell's chance of getting
anywhere. I tell you what, Brad. Jack. I follow a Swansea fan on Twitter who all of last season slagged off Russell Martin to the high heavens. And Russell Martin got in contact with him, like emailed him and was like, can you stop? Like, you're chatting shit pretty much.
Wow.
So careful what you say about Russell Martin. Careful.
The funny thing you say that because I've been slagging off Gavin Bazunu for the last season and a half. And last night at the night before at the fan forum, Russell said, I've made aware of certain comments about Gavin. And I thought, what if he's talking about me? I hope he's talking about me. That would be I've really accomplished something.
Brad, over on your channel, mate, Brad Barbs, I believe it is. What's coming up?
2-1 win at Borough, really.
Yes.
yeah. Just more match day vlogs, previews when I can get them up, as and when, and probably do one tomorrow night for the Borough game. That'll be a fun half an hour talking about how we're gonna lose. Used to it now, anyway. No, yeah, Borough Saturday, and then we'll see where we're at come the new week.
Yeah, I was just going to check when Leicester play Huddersfield. I
think it's New Year's Day again.
Oh, is it? Is it New Year's Day?
Which is cool because that's the first. Like I say, that's the first vlog I did, and that was the day it was.
Nice. You coming down? Yeah. If Ilish Chair isn't on the bench, sure.
I'll drag myself down. I'll drive down, right? See the lineup. If I don't like it, I'll get straight back up the M1.
Nice one. Right, lads. Much appreciated again. Thanks for jumping on, and everyone who's watching, drop us a like, subscribe as well if you can, as always. And we'll be back 7:00 next Thursday. I think Oscar and Chris might be back as well at some point, if not next week, the week after. So, thanks all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.